I agree with Myron. All women are digging for gold, just some have a bigger shovel. Okay. Would you like me to explain to you what a gold digger is? Remember what I just said a moment ago about how women love opportunists. The women's concept of love is based on opportunism, and men's concept of love is based on idealism. So that also translates into the transactional nature of sex and the validational nature of sex. It also translates into the gold digging thing versus, like, people will always say, and Cappy actually, Aaron Clary has like cornered me on this a couple times. Eventually, even the most validational like relationships become transactional. Like if you get married and you're making, and it's all based on love and sex and genuine desire, and then suddenly your wife gets a promotion and she's making like 10 times the amount of money that you are, now it becomes transactional. So there's a possibility that your relationship is going to be stressed or tested by the fact that women's concept of love is always going to be based on, can this guy support me? Is this guy is he somebody that I admire? Can I look up to this guy? And if the case was that before she could, and now after the promotion she can't, that's going to put a stress on the relationship because of that opportunistic nature. Okay. That doesn't mean they're evil. That doesn't mean they're manipulative. That doesn't mean they're gold diggers. That doesn't mean, insert the whatever Adam Lane Smith thinks that the red pill says. It just is what it is. How you deal with that is different. Like guys say, well, my wife makes lots more money than I do, and we have a great relationship. Yeah, because you look like Jason Momoa. Because you lay down the good dick. That's why there's something that offsets that deficit. you might say, well, because if you were like physically the same, and there was like sort of like your sexual market value is like very similar, and then she gets the promotion and you're still working at your 9-to-5 day job in the office, it's going to put stress on it at the very least. So, so what is a gold digger? A gold digger is a woman who embraces that and is open about it. In fact, you want to know why women hate other gold diggers? Because they're giving away the game. They're giving away the mechanics behind all of it. They're giving away, they're making it obvious that women's concept of love is based on opportunism. Women will not allow themselves to emotionally invest in a man unless he meets certain criteria. That's the opportunism right there. It's not meant to be like, we think of opportunism and we have a negative connotation. I get it. It's not meant to be I'm like, women are all bitches. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying that the opportunism is always going to be there. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. It is in women's biological evolutionary best interests to be that way. Men get really upset about that. And you know why they get upset? Because they think that women should share their idealistic concept of love. She should just love me for me. No, she shouldn't. Because you're never going to get to the point where there's going to be a love connection if you don't meet certain criteria, because you don't get your foot in the door. She might fuck you. You might lay down the good D, and that might change your mind about a few things. The thing is like, if you're not bringing like a certain level or a certain few of those checklists to the table, she's not going to invest in you. Not in the long term anyway. So saying that all women are gold diggers, I wouldn't say they're all gold diggers, but they are all opportunistic. Their concept of women's concept of love is based on opportunism, which is rooted in hypergamy, because women are interested in survival. They're the vulnerable sex. And even if they're not in 2023, the machine is still from 100,000 years ago on the sub-Saharan African savannas, making the same decisions. I forget where I read this, but I thought it was really kind of poignant. I think it might have been in Positive Evolutionary Psychology, the book I've been reading, but there's this idea anyways that I forget whose quote this was, but the idea is that we are still the same animals, the same like human beings. We're still the same animals as we were more or less from like 100,000 years ago, living in hunter-gatherer tribes, but we live in medieval, I know it was on that divorce attorney, I think, said this, but we live in these medieval institutions like marriage, or we live in these medieval level societies, and we have godlike technology. We have the cell phone, we have the internet. So you're looking at critters that are still like biomechanically, the machine is still what it was back in our ancestral past. We live in institutions that are medieval or maybe a little bit more advanced than that. But then we also have godlike technology. And we're trying to figure out how to process and digest all that and how to best, form best practices about that. And it's very, very difficult to do for human beings. So and by the way, so that difficulty, that paradox is translated over into, well, all women are opportunistic. Human beings are like this. Human nature is thus, right? We have the concept of that human nature based on those three things. We're still the machine, the institutions, and the technology. So I'm still kind of I'm still reading into that. I'm still kind of trying to suss that out. I might write a Substack article about that at some point. But I think it's kind of fascinating. I don't think that women are all gold diggers, but I think that the ones who are gold diggers ruin the strategy of the women who would rather they shut up. Very few women can be open gold diggers, for lack of a better term. Like women who are exceptionally attractive and they are obviously with a guy they're only with the guy for the money. That girl's a gold digger. Women will ostracize her. Why would that be? Because she's giving away the game. That's why.